All right, everyone, get ready. Because today we're taking a deep dive into something that might surprise you.
Yeah.
We're going beyond those everyday slip and fall accidents.
Right.
You know, the ones we've all seen, or maybe even experienced ourselves. We're going to uncover the legal battles, the nuances, the surprising complexities behind proving negligence in these cases.
It's a fascinating area of law, actually.
Really?
Yeah, a lot more intricate than people realize.
I bet.
You'd be surprised how often a simple stumble can turn into a full-blown courtroom drama.
Wow. So you're saying this is more common than we think?
Oh, absolutely. Way more common.
Okay, well, I was looking at this CDC report, and it says over 800,000 people end up hospitalized each year because of falls.
Yeah.
That's a huge number. It makes you realize this is more than just a few clumsy mishaps.
It is, and that's just hospitalizations, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't even account for all the other falls that lead to injuries.
Yeah, it's true.
And behind those numbers are real people dealing with, pain, medical bills, lost time from work. So understanding this legal framework of negligence, it's crucial.
Okay, so let's break down that legal framework.
Sure.
When we talk about negligence in these cases, what are we really talking about?
Well, in the simplest terms,
Yeah.
it means proving that a property owner failed to take reasonable care, and that led to someone getting hurt on their property.
Okay.
It's not enough to just slip and fall. You have to show they were somehow at fault.
Gotcha. So it's not like tripping over my own feet at home.
No,
It's about proving someone else didn't do their part to keep me safe.
exactly. And there are 4 key pieces to proving this negligence.
Oh, okay. So break down those 4 key pieces for me.
Yeah. The first is this concept of duty of care.
Okay.
It means the property owner had a legal obligation to provide a safe environment for you, the visitor.
Got it.
And this could apply to, all sorts of places, businesses like stores and restaurants,
Yeah.
hotels,
Mm-hmm.
even a friend's apartment. But that level of responsibility, well, it might vary depending on the situation.
Okay, that makes sense. So duty of care is established. What's next?
You have to demonstrate that they breached that duty.
Okay.
So that could mean there's a spill they didn't clean up, a broken handrail they ignored, even inadequate lighting.
Yeah, that makes it hard to see hazards.
Exactly. So it's about showing that they didn't act reasonably to prevent the accident.
All right, so let's say the property owner messed up. How do you tie that directly to your fall? Like, how do you prove that their mistake caused your injury?
That's where the third element comes in, causation.
Oh, okay.
You need to prove their breach directly caused your injury.
All right.
So it's not enough to just say there was a hazard.
Yeah,
You had to show that you wouldn't have fallen but for their negligence.
got it. So we've got duty of care, breach of duty, causation. What's the final piece?
Damages.
Okay.
You have to have actually suffered some kind of harm,
Right.
medical expenses, lost wages,
Yeah.
even pain and suffering. This is where things get really,
Yeah, I was about to say, how do you measure pain and suffering?
well, right. Proving the extent of your damages can require medical records.
Okay.
Maybe even expert testimony. A thorough understanding of how those injuries actually impact your life.
Yeah.
It's complicated.
So this is more than just a quick settlement.
It can be.
You're saying there's real detective work involved in these slip and fall cases.
You could say that. It gets even more interesting.
Oh.
Because you also have to prove the property owner knew or reasonably should have known about the hazard in the first place.
Okay, that makes sense.
For example,
Yeah.
imagine slipping on a wet floor right after they mopped. Is that automatically their fault?
Oh, that's a good question.
Right. It seems like common sense that a freshly mopped floor is slippery, but does that automatically make them negligent?
I don't know. That's what we're here to find out, I guess.
Exactly. So you have to look at it from all angles.
Yeah.
Did they put up warning signs? How long had the floor been wet? Were there procedures in place to dry the area quickly?
Right.
Was there a safer way to clean the floor?
Okay.
All of these factors help paint a picture of whether they acted reasonably.
So let's say the worst happens. I'm at a store, I slip, I fall, and I'm injured.
Okay.
Besides calling a doctor, what should I do to protect myself legally?
First and foremost, document everything.
Okay.
Take pictures of the scene, the exact spot where you fell, any visible hazards, even your injuries if you can.
So basically become a slip and fall detective, documenting the scene like it's a crime scene.
It's not quite that dramatic,
Okay.
but having this solid evidence can make a huge difference later on.
Got it. What about reporting the accident?
Yeah, that's important. Report the incident to a manager, someone in charge. Get a copy of that report if you can.
Okay.
This establishes what we call a paper trail.
Right.
And it shows you took immediate action.
Got it. Document the scene. Report the accident. Anything else crucial in those first few moments?
Here's probably the most important tip. Before you talk to any insurance adjusters, talk to a lawyer.
Hold on. A lawyer? For a slip and fall? Seems a little intense.
I know it might sound like overkill, but insurance companies are businesses, right?
Yeah.
Their goal is to minimize how much they pay out. They might try to twist your words, downplay your injuries.
Oh, wow.
Or pressure you into accepting a lowball settlement offer before you even know how bad your injuries really are.
So it's not as easy as just filing a claim and getting a check.
No. It can be a complex process, and having a lawyer on your side can really level the playing field.
Okay.
They understand the law, the tactics the insurance companies use,
right,
and how to build a strong case to fight for your rights.
This is way more complicated than I imagined.
It can be.
And we've only scratched the surface.
Exactly. We haven't even talked about specific types of hazards or the different types of compensation you might be entitled to.
Wow.
Or this concept called comparative negligence.
Comparative negligence. What's that?
Well, that's where things get really interesting.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
Stay tuned. We'll dive into all that after the break.
All right. We'll be right back with more on slip and fall negligence. Don't go anywhere. All right, I'm officially hooked after that last segment. I'm looking at every surface with a newfound sense of...
caution.
Yeah, caution. But let's get down to specifics.
All right.
What are some of the, real-life hazards that often lead to these slip-and-fall accidents?
Right.
I'm picturing everything as a potential danger zone now.
Well, it's not about living in fear.
Right.
But understanding the common culprits can definitely boost your awareness.
Yeah.
And you might be surprised at how often these hazards they pop up in seemingly harmless places.
Yeah.
So, for instance, one of the classics is, of course...
Let me guess.
Wet or slippery floors.
I knew it. Spilled drinks, freshly mopped floors, even rain tracked in from outside.
Yeah, all of them.
Easy to imagine. Right.
What about, the less obvious ones?
Right, yes.
The ones that catch you off guard.
Those are the sneakier ones.
Yeah.
Think about uneven surfaces. Cracks in the sidewalk, potholes in a parking lot.
Yeah.
Even those tiny little lips or changes in elevation between different types of flooring.
Oh, yeah.
You wouldn't believe how many people trip over those.
Actually, now that you mention it,
yeah,
I've totally stumbled over those unexpected little steps in stores before.
It happens all the time.
It's like your brain doesn't even register the change in height.
Exactly. Our brains are wired to expect those smooth, even surfaces.
Right.
So when there's that little inconsistency, it can really throw us off.
Gotcha. So uneven surfaces, those are a big one.
Huge. And well, then there's poor lighting.
Oh, yeah.
That can make it hard to see those hazards in the first place.
Especially when it's dim, dimly lit stairwells, parking garages late at night, even just walkways that aren't well illuminated.
Right. Ooh, yeah, those are scary.
They are.
Especially if you're in an unfamiliar place. You're not really paying attention to where you're going.
It's like a recipe for disaster.
It is.
Definitely increases the risk.
Okay, so we've got slippery floors, uneven surfaces, poor lighting. What else am I missing?
Well, we can't forget about, the seasonal hazard
of course.
Snow and ice.
Yeah, winter's coming.
It is. And property owners.
Yeah.
They have a responsibility to clear those walkways within a reasonable time frame.
Yeah.
But sometimes those icy patches, they can be hidden.
Oh, I know.
Under a fresh layer of snow.
Yeah, it's dangerous.
Very dangerous.
Talk about a legal nightmare.
Oh, yeah. And the hazards, they go beyond just the ground itself.
Oh, okay. Like what?
Think about cluttered walkways.
Oh, yeah.
Where boxes or merchandise are sticking out into the aisles. Or loose or damaged handrails.
Right.
Which can be especially dangerous for,
Yeah, older people.
Older folks, people with mobility issues.
Definitely.
So,
It's amazing.
It is.
How many hazards are out there?
Yeah.
It's like a whole new world.
It really is. Awareness is key.
Awareness is key.
And speaking of awareness, let's shift gears a little bit.
Okay.
And talk about the different types of compensation.
Oh, yeah. Let's get into that.
Yeah.
So what kind of financial recourse can someone expect if they've been injured due to someone else's negligence? Give us the lowdown.
Okay, so the most straightforward one is medical expenses.
Okay.
And this covers everything from the ambulance ride, the emergency room visit, any surgery, hospitalization, physical therapy, ongoing medical care.
So basically any cost that's directly related to treating those injuries.
That's right. But it goes beyond just the initial bills, too.
Okay.
You can also claim compensation for future medical costs.
Oh, right.
If your injuries are severe enough to require that ongoing treatment or, long-term care.
That makes sense. Like you might need years of physical therapy, maybe even assistive devices.
Exactly.
Depending on the severity of the fall.
Exactly.
But what about the situations where the injuries prevent you from working?
Yeah.
That's a huge financial burden.
It is, and that's where lost wages come in.
Okay, lost wages.
You can be compensated for the income you lose while you're recovering.
Okay.
While you're unable to work.
So you could be out of work for weeks or months or even longer.
Right.
And still get paid for that time.
You can. And if your injuries are permanent.
Oh, wow.
And they impact your ability to work in the future.
Yeah.
You might even be able to claim compensation for what's called diminished earning capacity.
So that's, like you're saying, the potential income that you've lost out on because your injuries prevent you from working at the same level as before.
Precisely. It takes into account the long-term financial impact of those injuries.
Right, right.
And then there's a category called pain and suffering, which might sound a little vague, but it's actually a crucial aspect of these cases.
So pain and suffering, break that down for me. Are we talking about physical pain?
Yes.
Emotional distress? The impact on your overall quality of life?
All of that.
How do you even put a price tag on that?
Well, it's challenging to quantify.
Yeah.
But it's about acknowledging those very real, non-economic damages that often accompany a serious injury, right?
Yeah.
It takes into account limitations on your daily activities, the emotional toll of the experience, and the impact on your overall enjoyment of life.
It's not just about the tangible costs. It's how this event has disrupted your life.
Exactly. And then in some cases, depending on the circumstances of the accident and the severity of the negligence, you might also be able to claim what are called punitive damages.
Punitive damages. Ooh, now that one sounds intriguing.
It is. These are designed to punish the defendant, the property owner, for particularly reckless conduct.
So it's like saying, hey, what you did was so irresponsible and dangerous, we're going to make an example out of you. And hit you where it hurts. The wallet.
You can put it that way. It's about deterring future negligence. Sending a message that those actions won't be tolerated.
But those aren't awarded in every case, right?
Correct. They're reserved for situations where the defendant's actions were really outrageous. Showed a blatant disregard for safety.
So it's not just about getting a payout. It's about holding those negligent property owners accountable.
Absolutely. It's about justice.
Yeah.
Making sure others don't suffer the same fate.
Wow, I'm learning so much about the complexities of these cases.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
It is fascinating, but my head is spinning a little bit. Understandable. With all these legal terms and concepts. Maybe we need to ground ourselves in some real world scenarios.
All right, good idea.
To make it all click.
Let's do it. Let's walk through some case studies.
Yeah, let's do it.
To illustrate how these cases actually play out in real life.
Perfect. Hit me with those real life scenarios.
Okay.
I'm ready to put my newfound knowledge to the test. Okay, let's test out all this slip and fall knowledge we've been building up.
All right, sounds good.
Hit me with a case study.
Okay, picture this. You're at the grocery store, just cruising down the aisle, and suddenly, bam! You're on the floor, staring up at the ceiling.
Oh, no.
You slipped on a puddle of spilled juice.
Ugh, I hate when that happens.
No warning signs, no nothing.
Classic.
Later, you find out an employee saw the spill like 10 minutes earlier, but just didn't clean it up.
Okay, that seems pretty open and shut to me. The store knew about the danger. They didn't do anything about it. Seems like a slam dunk case for negligence.
It would certainly seem that way.
Yeah.
They had a duty to keep those aisles safe.
Right.
They breached that duty by ignoring the spill.
Yep.
And that directly caused your injury.
Exactly.
But of course, proving all of that in court, well, that's where the legal expertise really comes in.
Got it. All right, so give me a trickier scenario.
Okay.
What about something that's not so clear-cut?
All right, imagine you're walking down a city sidewalk, minding your own business.
Okay.
and you trip on a raised section of pavement.
Oof. Yeah.
Turns out a tree root has grown underneath, and it's caused the pavement to buckle.
Interesting.
So who's at fault there?
Ooh, good question.
Right.
Is it the city's responsibility to maintain the sidewalk?
Possibly.
Or is it the property owner where the tree is actually growing?
Could be them too.
I don't know. That's a tough one.
It is. It might depend on the local ordinances.
Oh, okay.
You know, who's responsible for sidewalk upkeep?
Right.
And whether the homeowner actually knew about the root problem and just ignored it.
Gotcha.
Those are all the nitty-gritty details that, you know, a lawyer would investigate.
Okay, last scenario. You're at a friend's apartment.
Right.
You slip on a rug that's not secured properly.
Oh.
You get hurt. Can you sue your friend? The tricky question of suing your buddies.
The tricky question indeed. Well, remember that concept we talked about, duty of care. It matters who you are in relation to the property owner.
Yeah.
So while your friend should definitely keep their place reasonably safe, you know, the legal expectation isn't quite as strict as it would be for, say, a business.
Right, because that's an invitee.
Exactly.
Okay, so less likely to win a case against a friend than, say, a negligent store owner.
Generally speaking, yes.
Okay.
But again, specifics always matter.
Right.
If they knew that rug was a hazard and didn't warn you.
Yeah,
you know,
that changes things.
It does. It really all comes down to what a reasonable person would do in that situation.
This is making me rethink every friendly gathering I go to.
Well.
Okay, big picture time. What's the most fascinating thing you've learned about all this slip and fall stuff?
You know, what gets me is how these cases, they seem so mundane, right?
Yeah, they do.
But they really highlight where law and everyday life just collide.
Yeah.
Like, we think about slipping on a wet floor, but there's this whole system behind it.
Right.
Of responsibility, accountability, making things right when someone gets hurt.
It's true. I'm looking at the world differently now.
Okay.
Every sidewalk crack, every wet floor sign, there's this whole legal backstory I never even considered.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
It really is. And it's not just about the legal stuff either.
No.
It also highlights personal responsibility.
Right.
Yep. We can all be more aware.
Yes.
Avoid distractions while we're walking. Wear sensible shoes. Speak up if we see a hazard.
It's a two-way street.
It is.
Property owners have got to do their part.
Yeah.
But we have a responsibility to be mindful, too.
Totally. Imagine if everyone was just a little more careful, reported hazards, you know, took preventative measures.
Yeah.
Maybe we could significantly reduce these accidents.
We could.
And all the hardship they cause. Okay, last question for you. Let's say someone's listening and they think, this is interesting, but I'll probably never be in a slip and fall case. What would you say to them?
Well, I'd say statistics show that falls are incredibly common.
That's true.
It could really happen to anyone at any time.
Yeah.
It's not about being paranoid.
Right.
It's about being informed, knowing your rights, understanding negligence, being prepared if the unexpected happens. That's powerful.
Knowledge is power indeed.
It is.
So to wrap up this deep dive, what's the one big takeaway you want listeners to walk away with today?
I'd say slip and falls, they might seem like minor mishaps.
Yeah.
But they can have really life-altering consequences.
That's true.
And understanding this concept of negligence is crucial for protecting yourself, both as a potential victim and as a responsible citizen.
Well said. And remember, everyone, if you ever need legal guidance, don't hesitate to reach out to an attorney who specializes in these cases.
Absolutely.
They can help you navigate this complex world.
And fight for your rights.
Couldn't agree more. It's about having someone in your corner who really understands the law.
This has been such an eye-opening journey into the surprisingly intricate world of slip and fall negligence.
It has been fun.
Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.
You got it.
Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and watch your step.
Call now 714-442-9741. Thank you.